Have you ever stopped to think about who taught you how to deal with money? Probably no one. And if someone did, it was something very basic like work hard, save, and don't spend too much. But that's not financial education. That's programming. An invisible, silent, and dangerous programming. Since childhood, we are trained to obey, wake up early, follow rules, clock in, study to pass tests. And what happens next? We look for a stable job with a signed work card and a fixed salary at the end of the month. Sounds safe, right? But that's exactly what keeps you stuck in the same place. School doesn't teach you how to invest, to be an entrepreneur, or how to create passive income. It teaches you to memorize formulas, but not how to make money work for you. It teaches the history of kings, but not how the banking system works. And there's a reason for that. The system needs good employees, not financially free people. And parents? They do the best they can. But if they were also programmed to survive and not to get rich, they will pass on the same pattern. Phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, go study to get a good job, or money only comes with a lot of sacrifice, are repeated generation after generation, like a mantra that limits, holds back, and scares. Result? Millions of intelligent, hard-working adults who live in fear of the end of the month. They earn, pay bills, and survive, but never prosper, because they were shaped to obey, not to question, to follow the system, not to build their own path. And the truth is harsh, but it needs to be said. If you don't reprogram your mind, you'll stay exactly where you are. Poverty doesn't start in your wallet. It starts in your head. For a long time, you were made to believe that working more is synonymous with getting rich. That if you work hard, do overtime, climb the corporate ladder, one day you'll have more than enough money. But that's one of the biggest illusions of the modern world. Stop and think, how many people do you know who work hard, sometimes at 2 jobs, and are still struggling, unable to save anything by the end of the month? If salary were the key to wealth, the bricklayer who works from sunrise to sunset, the nurse who takes double shifts, or the driver who spends all day on the road would already be rich. But they're not. And do you know why? Because the system was designed to keep you busy and dependent. Salary by itself is not the villain, but it's also not the salvation. It's just a starting point. The mistake is believing that it alone will get you out of the rat race, that just doing what everyone else does, work, receive, pay bills, will one day make life better. That won't happen if you don't change the way you handle the money that comes in. Robert Kiyosaki often says, it's not how much you earn, it's what you do with what you earn. And that's a truth that separates those who get rich from those who merely survive. Because those who get rich understand that salary is a seed, and seeds need to be planted, not entirely consumed. Financial freedom doesn't come from working more, but from thinking differently, from using your salary to create other sources of income, from investing, studying, starting a business, from putting money to work for you. In other words, if you're still trading your time for money and expecting to get rich from it, you're stuck in an illusion. If you ask any millionaire what was the real turning point in their life, do you know what many will say? A mindset shift. The truth is that the biggest difference between the rich and the poor is not in salary, luck, or inheritance. It's in how they think. It's in the way they see money, time, mistakes, risks, and even life. Poor people often avoid talking about money. They run from spreadsheets, don't want to think about investments, and believe that's something only for those who already have a lot. Meanwhile, the rich study. They seek to understand the game, observe patterns, and learn from those who made it. They see money as a skill to be mastered, not a problem to be avoided. And it all starts with mindset, because a mind programmed for scarcity can win the lottery and lose everything in a few years. And a mind trained to prosper can start with little and build an empire. Mindset shift is stopping the thought, I don't have money to invest, and starting to think, how can I learn to invest even with little? It's leaving the thought, I wasn't born for this, and moving into, what do I still need to learn to get there? And this change doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from reading good books, being around people who think differently, and consciously choosing to change your daily habits. Because the environments you frequent and the content you consume shape your worldview and consequently your financial destiny. If you want a new life, you need a new mind. Wealth begins in the mind, always. And once you change your mindset, everything else begins to change too. Have you noticed how, in many families, talking about money is almost a sin? We grow up hearing that you shouldn't ask how much someone earns, that it's rude to talk about prices, that discussing money causes fights. Result? Thousands of people grow up without knowing the basics of finance, simply because they were taught that the subject should be avoided. This cultural taboo is one of the biggest silent traps preventing financial growth for many people. While the poor avoid the topic out of fear, shame, or discomfort, the rich talk about money naturally, strategically, and clearly. And no, this has nothing to do with arrogance. It has to do with education and future vision. While a scarcity-minded family teaches the child not to ask anything about values, a wealthy-minded family teaches their child from a young age about budgeting, cash flow, investments, and entrepreneurship. They treat money for what it is, a neutral tool that can build or destroy depending on who uses it. Money is neither good nor bad. It just amplifies who you already are. A generous person with money will give more. A selfish person will spend more on themselves. The problem was never the money. The problem is how we were taught to relate to it. And here's the central point. If you don't talk about money, you won't learn about money. And if you don't learn, you won't master it. And if you don't master it, you'll remain stuck. So it's time to break that cycle. Talking about money is not shameful. What's shameful is living your entire life without control, without savings, depending on others and blaming yourself for not having learned sooner. Speak up, ask, research, get involved, because only those who break the silence can change their reality. Have you ever heard phrases like, money doesn't bring happiness, all rich people are greedy? To get rich, you need luck or to step on others. These phrases may sound innocent, but they work like mental poisons that sabotage you without you even noticing. These are called limiting beliefs, ideas you absorbed throughout life, often in childhood, and that became absolute truths in your mind. The problem is, they act as invisible walls between you and financial freedom. Imagine someone who, deep down, believes that money corrupts people. Even if they start earning more, they'll find ways to spend, lose, or avoid dealing with money. Because unconsciously, they want to stay pure, humble, or accepted by others. It's like trying to run with a rubber band tied to your waist. You try hard, but something always pulls you back. That something is your beliefs. Now stop and think. How many opportunities have you let pass because you thought they weren't for you? How many times have you self-sabotaged with thoughts like, that's too risky, I'm not good with numbers, this won't work for me? Those internal voices don't come from the future, they come from the past, from phrases you heard from family, friends, or teachers, and that today have become walls inside your head. But here's the good news. Beliefs can be replaced. With knowledge, practice, and new experiences, you can replace I can't with I don't know yet, but I can learn. You can replace money doesn't bring happiness with money is freedom to live with purpose. Robert Kiyosaki says that financial freedom is not a mystery, it's a science. And every science can be learned as long as you believe you're capable. So if you want to change your life, start by clearing the ground of your mind, because no technique works if your mind is programmed to fail. Want a simple but powerful secret that separates those who get rich from those who are always in debt? knowing exactly where your money is going. It sounds basic, but most people have no control over their cash flow. They know roughly how much they earn. They kind of know their fixed bills, but they have no idea how much they spend per month on snacks, apps, luxuries, small indulgences, and installments. And then comes the question at the end of the month, where did my money go? It went away silently because no one controls what they don't observe. Imagine your financial life as a bucket. Your salary is the water coming in. But if the bucket has holes and you don't know where they are, it doesn't matter how much goes in, it will never fill up. And that's exactly what happens to those who don't control their cash flow. Even with a small income, you can grow if you have control. Even earning little, it's possible to invest, save, and get out of debt. The problem is almost never how much you earn, but how you spend. And the first step is simple. Write everything down. Yes, everything. On paper, in an app, on a spreadsheet. But write it down. Just doing this will already show you habits that previously went unnoticed. Small expenses that, when added up, consume your future. After understanding your cash flow comes the second step, organizing priorities. Is it more important to keep that subscription you don't even use, or save to build an emergency fund? Is it more urgent to dine out every week, or invest in a course that could generate income in the future? Mastering your cash flow is more than recording expenses. It's about taking control of your financial life. It's saying, I'm in charge here, my money goes where I decide. And believe it, when you master this, the transformation begins to happen, because now money stops slipping away and starts working for you. Have you ever heard someone say, oh, it was just a little coffee? This subscription is cheap, you barely notice it. I deserve this treat every now and then. Exactly. Individually, each expense seems harmless, but together they form a silent trap that drains your wealth, drop by drop. This is called the latte effect, small daily expenses that, when added up over months or years, represent thousands of dollars that could have been invested. A $5 coffee a day, every day, is $150 a month. In a year, that's $1,800. And in 10 years, over $18,000, not counting the interest that money could have earned. Now, the problem isn't the coffee itself, it's spending automatically without thinking. It's living a lifestyle that doesn't match your financial reality, just to keep up appearances or feel better for a few minutes. The trap is subtle. You start earning more, and instead of investing, you increase your spending. Upgrade your phone, subscribe to more services, change your car, start going to fancier restaurants. And what changes? Nothing. You stay in the same place, just with more expensive things around you. The secret of the rich is the opposite. They grow while keeping their feet on the ground. When they earn more, they increase the percentage they invest, not the size of the car. They live on less than they earn. They think long-term. They know that wealth is not built with appearances. It's built with daily decisions. Every cent has a destination. Every expense must make sense. Spending out of habit is wasting opportunities. Spending for status is trading your future for the present. So next time you're about to make a small expense, ask yourself, is this money bringing me closer to financial freedom or taking me further away from it? For decades, the fixed salary was sold as the symbol of stability. Having a paycheck at the end of the month meant security, respect, and peace of mind. And for a long time, that idea made sense. But the world has changed, and those who still believe that a fixed salary means safety are living in a time that's already gone. Look at what happens today. Companies shut down overnight. Technologies replace entire professions. Markets shift. Crises arise without warning. And you know what doesn't change? The electric bill, the rent, your family's needs. Relying solely on your salary is like riding a bicycle with only one wheel. One imbalance and everything falls apart. And this isn't an exaggeration. How many people do you know who lost their jobs overnight and saw their lives turned upside down? The truth is that having a single source of income is a huge risk. It's like putting all your eggs in one basket. And if that basket falls, what the rich understood, and what you need to understand too, is that salary can be the beginning of your wealth-building journey, but it should never be your only pillar. While some work for the salary, others use the salary to build freedom. And that starts with a simple change: using part of your income to generate other sources of income. Investing, starting a side business, offering a freelance service, developing a skill that can be monetized, opening an extra income stream that, over time, might even surpass your fixed salary. In 2025, the new security is not having a paycheck at the end of the month. It's having multiple income streams, financial knowledge, and control over your own future. The real mistake is not earning little, it's relying solely on one way of earning. Now we reach the point that truly changes the game, leaving behind the mindset of earning money through the sweat of your brow and starting to earn through intelligence and strategy. This is called building assets. Robert Kiyosaki talks about this all the time. The rich don't work for money, they make money work for them. And how? By building assets. But what is an asset? An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket even when you're not working. It could be a rental property, a stock that pays dividends, a YouTube channel that generates automatic revenue, an ebook that keeps selling, an online course that people buy while you sleep. It's the opposite of a liability, something that takes money out of your pocket, like cars, debts, gadgets, and unnecessary expenses. The magic of passive income is this: it breaks the direct trade of time for money. When you rely only on your physical or mental effort to earn, your growth has a ceiling. But when you create a system that continues to generate income, even without your presence, the ceiling disappears. And the best part, you don't have to be rich to start building assets. You can start small, with little money and a big desire to learn. A monthly investment in stocks, a savings plan to start a business in the future, a free course to learn how to sell a service. The important thing is to always think like this: is this money going into something that gives me returns, or is it going away, never to return? Every asset you build is a brick in the wall of your financial freedom, and over time, those bricks become a strong wall, protecting you from crises, unemployment, and insecurity. Start now, with what you have, where you are, but start. If you've made it this far, you've probably realized no one is coming to save you. The government won't. The company you work for won't either. And waiting for the perfect moment, when there's extra money, when the crisis is over, when everything is perfect, is the same as postponing your own life. The truth is that time is passing, and every month you do nothing, it becomes more expensive to start over. Prices go up, opportunities shift, and your body and mind are not eternal. That's why the key word now is urgency. You don't need a lot of money to start. What you need is courage to take the first step. Save 10% of your salary, read your first finance book, make your first investment, even if it's small. Start your first side project, even without experience. The real failure is not making mistakes. It's looking back 5 years from now and realizing you're still in the exact same place, still depending on a single salary, afraid of the future, and without any extra source of income to give you security. While you wait, there are people earning from YouTube channels that started with an old phone. People profiting from digital products made in their spare time. People who started with $50 in a brokerage account and now live off dividends. And you know what these people did differently? They started. It's not about being lucky, it's about taking action. So the decision is in your hands. Will you keep just surviving, or will you start building your financial freedom? Do you know what hurts more than working hard? reaching the end of your life and realizing you could have done more but didn't. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because of fear, complacency, and excuses. And over time, those excuses turn into regret. How many have said, "If only I had started 10 years ago. If only I had invested back then. If only I had learned about this earlier." The problem is that the earlier is already gone, but the now is still here. And what separates those who win from those who are still waiting isn't talent, luck, or intelligence. It's action, discipline, commitment to your own future. The effort is temporary. Reading, studying, giving up short-term pleasures, starting small, all of that passes. But the results last a lifetime. Freedom, peace of mind, security, all of that see. But regret, that can last forever. Do you want to look back and say, "I did what had to be done"? Or look back and think, "I could have done it, but I kept postponing"? Remember, every sacrifice you make today has a name and investment in yourself. And it's always worth it. If this message struck a chord inside you, share it with someone who also needs to wake up now. And subscribe to the channel, because the next video might be the step that changes your story. The journey has begun. Now it's up to you.